Dear MOOC learners, welcome back to this module on modern modes of instructional delivery as a part of virtual education. Let us see what is this influence of virtual education on students' learning point of view. Please see how this virtual education improves the institutional productivity with respect to teaching, learning and capacity building, how it will enhance the skills and it will end up with earning a degree, how the virtual education can be helpful in innovative learning resources, how it can be helpful in developing interactive e-learning tools, improved engagement with respect to teaching learning scenario, e-contents, developing e-contents for students, online examinations and rewards, collaboration and networking. So, this is the influence, these are all the influence of virtual education on students' learning, and we are seeing the effect of this virtual education in today's educational scenario. Especially in the higher education, we are seeing the massive involvement of e-learning related tools for improved teaching learning process. Now, at the end of this session, we will be able to understand how to design and develop an online course that prompts learner interactions, engagement and active learning, use various modern modes of instructional delivery, incorporate and apply online tools for effective online instructions, design high quality instructional materials, create online learning activities appropriate for a specific discipline or content area. Now, what is an instructional delivery? It is a very broad term and it is a specific technology field that deals with creating the resources for learning. A famous educationist R.C. Ritchie defined instructional delivery as the theory and practice of design, development, utilization and evaluation of processes and resources for learning. Basically, this instructional delivery describes the technologies that facilitates access to information of all types. So, this is the fundamental definition of instructional delivery that we have to keep in mind. If you see the historical analysis of instructional delivery, how it was improved over the period of time. In 1920s, the modes of delivery were individual, self-paced and self-co-reactive instructions. Okay. In 1930s, they have included behavior objectives and formative evaluations. In 1940s, actually military training benefits from IDT during World War II was included. Then in 1950s, there was a famous educationist called Skinner. He programmed the instructions. Bloom's taxonomy came into picture, major funding for maths and science after the launch of scrutiny. Okay. In 1960s, there was people started defining learning objectives, criteria of referenced evaluation started coming in. In 1970s, cognitive psychology merges with the instructional design. In 80s, the personal computers, instructional systems in business and industries came into picture. Now, in 90s, people are talking about cognitive load theories, rapid prototyping and many more things. Okay. So, this is the history of how the instructional delivery has evolved over the period of time depending upon the needs of that particular time. So, what are the domains of instructional technologies? Instructional technology is a different field. The domains of instructional technology include design of instruction, development of instruction, evaluation, management and utilization. Okay. And basically this comes under the category of domains and competencies of instructional technology. So, what we do it in design of instruction? It includes instructional system design, then message design, instructional strategies and learner characteristics. The development of instruction includes print technologies, audio visuals, computer based instructional delivery, integrated technologies and so on. Then evaluation includes problem analysis, measurements, formative and summative evaluations. Utilization includes diffusion of innovation, implementation and institutionalization, policies and regulations. In the last session, we have seen different policies from various regulatory bodies like UGC and AICTE. And finally, management. What we talk about management? It is the whole project management, resource management, delivery system management and information management. So, this is basically a kind of a comprehensive survey, in the sense this includes design, development, evaluation, utilization and management. So, this is what these are all the domains of instructional technology. Now, we will see what are the modes of instructional delivery. The basic one which we are following over the period of time, face to face instructional delivery. Here instruction is delivered in person and the students are expected to attend the class in a physical mode. Then what is this converged learning? Here the delivery of instruction is independent of place, okay, and it merges the physical and the virtual classrooms. Then there is synchronous online. Here delivery of instruction takes place during the day and the time noted independent of the location. Then online delivery of instruction in which the course activity can be completely online through some kind of learning management system. So, please try to understand the differences of each modes of instructional delivery. Then what is this virtual classrooms and online learning? These virtual classrooms again is a part of online learning instructional strategies. Virtual classrooms can be useful at any level of education, but it is not suggested at primary level. One common challenge of the traditional classroom environment is that the students learn at their own pace. So, teachers need to find a way to tailor their lesson plans to the average learners rather than addressing each student's unique needs here. And online learning provides access to a wider array of topics, giving the students opportunities to enrich their education by taking courses at their schools that might not offer. Okay. Now we will see some of the important tools and technologies that are used in virtual education. First, we will see the use of advanced presentation tools. As an educator today, we are supposed to equip ourselves with the different tools and technologies for better teaching, learning and presenting. One such open source tool that is available, I think majority of you may be aware of this, Apache's OpenOffice Impress. What is this? Impress Earlier Apache OpenOffice was formerly known as OpenOffice.org, is one of the most well known Microsoft Office alternatives. And with Impress, this you can download, install and do a lot of things. With Impress you can make multimedia presentations, you can insert images, videos, sound and many other things. You can also use 2D and 3D clip, art, animation, special effects and so more. So, you can also open a PowerPoint files on this software. This is a free and open source software, anyone can use it. It is really a good tool to use. Then there is one more tool called DocSend, which helps the business professionals like professionals like you to securely share and control the content that drives the business forward. So, here DocSend's powerful link based system makes it easy to set security preferences for each of the stakeholder. So, they receive notifications each time if someone views your file. They will analyze the content performance on a page by page basis. They create modern virtual deal rooms, and almost, you believe me or not, more than 70,000 companies they rely on DocSend to share and manage sensitive information. This may be used for industrial training purpose, where if the industry wants to share some of their information which need not be sent to everyone. So, in such kind of scenarios DocSend can be used. Then Google Slides, every one of you know, it is a part of Google Workspace, and it does a very nice job of making a number of PowerPoint capabilities. This is a free presentation software that supports embedding videos, creating diagrams, adding animations to your slide. Then there is one more called Mentimeter. It is also easy to use, interactive and innovative. Presenting has never been stressful and it is more effortless here. You can create a unique dynamic presentations that will impress as well as engage, whereas the rest of the three that we have discussed, they are not engaged. Here you can actually have some kind of live engagement with your audience. With Mentimeter, you can better connect with your students, colleagues and clients. So, no matter if it is a lecture or a workshop or a meeting, Mentimeter has been designed to suit every type of presentations. At the end of this session, we will have some kind of demonstration of these tools. Okay. So, here we have so many other types of different tools for presentation. One is something called iSpring Suite Max, which is a paid software. Here the business seems, it is actually for business. There is one more called Nearpad. Lot of teachers use this. It is very good for sharing exciting lessons with interactive sessions, as well as they include some VR lessons, but the basic free tool is limited to only 40 people. And again we have already said about Prezi. It is a web ready presentation, HTML5 based presentation. Then Mentimeter is for interactive presentations. Similarly, we have ClassFlow, SlideDog, Intuiface. There are so many, Intuiface. There are so many such kind of advanced presentation tools are available in for some of them are free and some of them are paid. So, depending upon your requirement, you can choose the one that best suits for you. Then coming to the implementation of flipped classroom. Basically, the flipped classroom is an instructional strategy that aims to increase the student engagement and learning by having students complete the readings at their home and work on live problem solving during the class time. Please understand, this is flipping. What we used to do is, in the earlier traditional classrooms, we used to teach the students during the class time and give the homework for the students to do at their home during the free time. Now, what we are trying to do? We are flipping it. We are giving some instructional materials for the students to study on their own. It may be a video file or it may be an e-content file. The students will go through those materials, and during the class time what we will do is, we will conduct some assignments or assessment or some activity based on the contents that you have given for the students to study at their home. So, this is the concept of flipped classroom. Here students watch online lectures, collaborate in online discussion at home while engaging in concepts in the classroom with the guidance of a mentor or the teacher. Here a teacher's interaction with the students in a flipped classroom can be more personalized, and students are actively involved in knowledge acquisition and construction. So, but there are 3 points to consider regarding the flipped classroom. One is homework. What is the homework that you are giving? Using the flipped classroom model, students are required to do homework prior to the session, and not all the students will do that. So, how do you motivate the students to actively participate in flipped classroom is a real challenge. Then homework quality. No student will accept a very long and detailed video to watch online. So, how deep do you go with the material? How much you are required to ask the students to watch? These are all some of the issues. Similarly, the production quality also. Do you need to get too concerned about the production quality of your videos? It is not actually required. There are number of options on this point, and still all it comes down to the topic being covered or not, and how you are using these videos in your module. So, quality should not matter too much here, and you would like to produce an interesting and engaging videos that will hold your students' attention. These are the 3 points to be considered while you are implementing flipped classroom. So, what is the next? The pedagogy. When the flipped classroom is extended to blended learning, what is the pedagogy of the blended learning? Blended learning is nothing but mixing both face to face learning and online learning. So, you are trying to blend both the face to face, advantages of both face to face and online learning. That is what we are trying to teach, and the blended learning improves online learning. It makes people to work in small group, it improves collaboration, and it also stresses on individual learning. And through blended learning, you can achieve personalized online learning. You can have a teacher led small group discussions, you can impose collaborative work, and you can make individual learning a better. So, what is actually the concept of blended learning? It is an approach to education that combines online educational materials and opportunities for interactions online with traditional place based classroom methods, and it requires the physical presence of both the teacher and the student with some element of student control over the time, place and pace. So, blended learning is highly context dependent. Okay. So, the implementing blended learning in different domains will be slightly different. So, you cannot have a unified approach here. So, now what is the traditional learning approach and what is the flipped learning approach. We will have a small discussion here. So, before the class, in the traditional learning approach, what the student will do before the class? The learners come to the classroom based on the topic and schedule given to them in the form of timetable. During the classroom, what they do in the traditional classroom? The instructor delivers the lecture to the class and they provide some kind of study material. And after the class, what the student will do? The learners are given the practice exercises and the activities to do at home, which enhances their learning. But what happens in the flipped classroom learning approach? Before the class, the students, the learners are given the study material to read and assimilate some kind of learning material. Then in the classroom, the learners will discuss the content with their peers as well as with the instructor. And after the class, what they do? The learners will check and confirm their understanding by doing further learning activities. Okay? So, here when it comes to assessing the activities and also when it comes to any kind of instructional material design, we have to ensure that we follow Bloom's taxonomy, that is actually dealt as a separate session in detail. And what we have to understand is the Bloom's taxonomy has 6 levels of learning. It moves from remember, understand, apply, analyze and evaluate. Remember deals with recalling the facts and basic concepts. Understand deals with explaining the ideas or the concept. Apply deals with using the information in new situations. Analyze deals with drawing the connections among the ideas. Evaluate deals with justifying a stand or a decision. Finally, create deals with producing a new or the original work. Okay. These are used in different aspects of instructional design. So, one has to at least be familiar with one taxonomy, that is Bloom's taxonomy. Then the active learning approach to be used as an instructional delivery method. Active learning is any approach to the instruction in which all the students are asked to engage in the learning process. Okay. And the students will engage in small or large activities centered around writing, talking, problem solving and reflecting. Okay. So, active learning involves visuals, social, then verbal, real time assessments and many other things. There is one more instructional delivery approach called problem based learning, whereas the traditional teaching lecture would give the students information or the answers, whereas in the problem based learning you are going to present the students with a problem rather than the solution. And this allows the students to become more active in their learning as they work out with which information they need to find out to solve a particular problem. Okay. So, there are many advantages of students, advantages for students in using this approach, as it allows them to develop transferable and employability skill that will be useful in their workplace, improve the communication and team working, then practice research and information processing, then developing debating and analytical skills. These are the advantages of problem based learning. So, therefore, the whole process, in the whole process of problem based learning, what we do is there are 2 quadrants. In one quadrant you present the problem, then the students will define the problem, they brainstorm the ideas based on their prior knowledge and students engaged in an independent study. Then finally, the students share information, engage in peer teaching and work towards the solution. Students also present their solutions and review what they have learned, and students engage in self, peer and tutor review of the process. Okay. Then there is one more new idea has come, like work based learning. This mode of delivery provides the students with real life work experiences to aid their learning and improve their employability. Workplace learning is integrated into the curriculum to allow students to co-experience theories along with the practice. So, this could be done through internships, job shadowing and also field trips. So, basically there are three kinds in three verticals in work based learning. One is awareness, where you learn about the work. Next is exploration, where you are learning through the work, and another one is experience, where you are learning for the work. How do we actually create awareness for the work based learning? Through some career fairs, guest speakers, field trips, job shadowing, workplace tours and workplace tours and many other things. In exploration, how you actually do exploration, that is learning through work, again career competitions, mentoring, mock interviews, science fairs, service learning and teacher exchanges. Okay. Then finally, how do you actually make students experience, that is learning for the work through apprenticeships, then through fellowships, internships, job training and many other things. So, finally, there is one more model called student led learning. In student led learning, where students themselves facilitate their learning, often by students in the year above, guiding the students in a group of activities to discuss the materials with their peers and solve problems. So, this will help them to think through what they have previously been taught and encourages collaborative learning. So, in student led classroom, there is a student engagement, there is a rigor, that is a senior will teach the junior, there is a transition to college, okay, and you can have teacher as a facilitator of ideology rather than the teacher being the teacher instructor itself. Then another strategy is immersion learning. What is this immersion learning? It refers to any education approach that teaches by placing the student directly in an environment. And the most common use of immersion learning is typically used in teaching foreign languages, and immersion learning recommends that the individual spend time living in a country to learn its native languages. How do they do? In the immersion learning, in the first phase, you have your activities, handouts, exercises, textbooks, then explanations and instructions will be 100% in your target language. What you do is, you will speak and interact in your target language. Then at the third phase, you will be completely immersed in the language and the culture that you are learning. So, this is how the immersion learning is practiced in case of language learning. Whereas, nowadays people are using the new technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality to mimic this immersion learning even in technical education also. So, how do we implement the immersive learning in classrooms? These technologies that implement immersive learning in the classroom teaching are virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality and 3D immersive learning. All these technologies are used to implement immersive learning in the classroom. So, what are the benefits of immersive learning? It is a distraction free world, it is focused immersion, there is an emotional content, increased motivation, there is a personalized learning approach and a better knowledge retention. So, therefore, for few subjects at least people should start implementing this immersive learning. Then how do we design the learning space for the students in your classroom? Please recall all your classrooms, if you see in your own institution, they are all very traditional, that follow the British model, conference room model, where teacher will be standing on the stage and there will be a series of desks which are laying in front of the students. The students will assemble just in front of the students, they sit in the desk. So, with this kind of learning space, students cannot learn much or do any interaction. It is more of it is better suited for a typical classroom atmosphere, where the teacher is giving a monolithic lecture and student is just listening. But this is not the type of classrooms that we want for teaching the present day students. Here the design of a learning space is very important to obtain the desirable learning outcomes. A well designed learning space supports pedagogical practice that engage, challenge and equip students with the knowledge, skills, attributes that they need to succeed in a complex and rapidly changing world. So, you cannot have a traditional classroom, better see the typical classroom that is actually situated in for a kindergarten class in America. So, what are the trends in learning space design? The trend one is the space designed to facilitate active and social learning strategies. Here the learning space facilitates and also encourages learners participation or in a definite learning space, and here you can impose active learning, interaction and social engagement that will be significant in the future. So, for this we have a kind of a round table arrangement. We have a round table followed by 3 to 4 chairs. The students will sit across the chair and they do all these discussions across the round table. Another trend is human centered design. Here the trend towards human centered design is embodied in the shift from information commons to teaching or learning commons. The another trend is devices that enrich learning. So, you should have a learning space equipped with the devices that the pace of the technology change makes it increasingly difficult for the colleges and the university to provide robust contemporary technology infrastructure. Okay. Now, at the end we will see what are the different tools that we use for e-learning. Again we will have a demo in the next session of a few of these tools. We will have a demo. One is called Edmodo. It is an educational tool that connects teachers and students and is assimilated into a social network. Then called Socrative, it is a system that allows teachers to create exercises and educational games which the students can solve using mobile devices. Then Class Dojo, it is a tool to improve student behavior. Teacher provides their students with instant feedback. Similarly, there is an Edu Clipper. This platform allows the teachers and the students to share and explore references and educational materials. Then Kahoot, it is an educational platform that is based on games and questions. Through these tools, teachers can create questionnaire discussions and surveys. There is also called Animato, it is a digital tool allows you to create high quality videos in short time. So, there are many such kind of tools for creating e-learning materials. So, you have many other tools like YouTube for video sharing, Prezi for nonlinear presentation, Edu blocks for educational blogging tool, then blogs for content writing, SlideShare for presentation sharing, Dropbox for file synchronization software, Google Docs for collaborative work. Many such kind of tools are available for use. Then how do we impose collaborative and cooperative instructional strategies? This is the most common form of active learning involving group or the teamwork of the entire of some kind. The collaborative learning is where the students work together for shared outcomes, and the collaborative learning is assessed as a group, where cooperative learning refers to the group work and common goal, where the common goal is produced, but the students are assessed individually. Okay. So, what is the cooperative learning and collaborative learning? What is the difference between these two? Both are similar, but focus on peer interaction and promoting social skills via group setting. So, in cooperative learning, there are teachers, they are teacher structured, everyone pulls the weight accordingly, there is a social interaction and many more things. Whereas, in collaborative learning, there is a group work together, deepen thinking and social interactions, okay, where the students will share their experiences and difficulties while solving the problem. So, this is an example of collaborative learning in a classroom, where the students will discuss each other and try to come out with some kind of solution for a problem given by the teacher. So, what are the differences and the similarities between the collaborative learning and the cooperative learning? First, you see the cooperative learning, it is called anti-competition. The students are not assessed against each other or against each other groups, and it emphasizes the group, not an individual within it. The search for the objective truth by putting our heads together, and the teacher is active in structuring the lesson aims and objectives. Whereas, the collaborative learning, it embraces individual strengths and celebrates them with the group. The search for the shared, that is subjective truth through negotiation and discourse. The session aims and objectives are negotiated within the group. But what are the similarities between two? In both collaborative and cooperative learning, the students work in groups to achieve a common educational aim. Meaningful learning occurs while all the group members participate equally. Social interaction is seen to support learning and development, and active learning is encouraged and prepare students for the world of the work. So, now what are the benefits of cooperative and collaborative learning? The students come to recognize, understand and respect cultural differences and different perspectives. Performance is improved with collaborative and cooperative methods, much more valuable than the individualistic ways of building students' performance and progression. Group works helps the students who have the difficulty with social skills, providing a safe and structured space to interact with each other. Collaborative and cooperative learning is very useful. Here the confidence is emboldened with the students able to recognize and value the importance of their contributions. Inclusivity is encouraged here. There is no such thing such as an average child, and the collaborative and cooperative methods allow each child to work with their own strengths. Then finally, how do we motivate our students towards this virtual learning? Fostering the student innovation is a necessary aspect of teaching that the instructors must consider. This guide will look at three frameworks. One is expectancy value cost model of the motivation, then the ARCS model of instructional design, and self-determination theory. There are three motivational aspects, and the aim is to offer practical solutions for understanding and enhancing the student motivation. So, how do you motivate the students towards virtual learning environment? Make your classroom interactive, add quizzes and challenges to your online session, encourage collaboration, give your students a say, take proper feedback. What are the additional strategies for motivating students? There are few additional research based strategies for motivating the students. Become a role model for students' interest, get to know about your students, use examples freely, use a variety of student active teaching activities, then be free with practice and constructive in criticism. Give the students as much control over their education as much as possible. There is a theory to motivate, that is called self-determination theory, which is a macro theory of human motivation, emotion and development of concern with social conditions that facilitate human flourishing. Here, people focus on the factors that influence intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, which involve the satisfaction of the basic psychological needs. Okay? And one thing you are supposed to do to motivate students, you please take the real time feedback, implement to improve your instructional strategy. So, instructional technology provides a better capabilities for getting and providing feedback component with more traditional methods. Teachers can use varieties of digital tools to gauge where their students are in a particular lesson. Some schools have been piloting with virtual reality classrooms, where the teachers can rehearse the lessons in an artificial environment, helping them hone their abilities without negatively impacting the students. Okay. So, lot of work is actually going on in this area. There are different types of feedback. You can take goal reference feedback, triangular feedback, actionable feedback, consistent, timely, user friendly, focused, proactive and descriptive. There are different types, depending upon the scenario you can use them. Okay. This is a different theory as well, but one has to be aware of these different types of feedback. So, how do we make this virtual learning environment more effective, so that the students are motivated? Make this virtual learning environment learner centered. Learner should drive all the activities. You should make it structured and well designed, considering the role of teachers in supporting inquiry and autonomous learning. Then it should be profoundly personalized, then sensitive to individual and group differences in terms of background, prior knowledge, motivation and abilities. Then it should be inclusive, that is sensitive to individual and group differences in terms of learning needs, and it should be social, that is learning most effective when cooperative and in group setting. So, these things are to be taken care to make your virtual learning environment or virtual education system more effective. So, as it was discussed, there is one ARCS model to improve the students' motivation. So, here the instructional design approach, which focuses on motivational aspects of learning environment, and the model was created by John Keller during 80s. And there are two major parts in the model. The first part is the set of categories representing 4 components of motivation: arousing interest, creating relevance, developing an expectancy of success, and producing satisfaction through intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. And the second part of this model is a process that assists instructional designers in creating appropriate motivational elements for the intended learners. So, what are the factors involved in ARC's model? Attention refers to getting and sustaining the students' attention and directing attention to appropriate stimuli. Then relevance involves making instruction applicable to present and future career opportunities. Confidence includes helping students believe that some level of success is possible if effort is exerted. And finally, satisfaction is attained by helping students feel good about their accomplishments. So, there are good number of case studies. There is one separate division I want to mention. This again I will show you this website, Educational Technology Division at IIT Bombay. It is an interdisciplinary program in educational technology at IIT Bombay, which is actively involved in research and education in the area of technologies to promote learning and teaching process, and the educational development program IDP is composed of faculty members from various departments in the IIT Bombay, and the thrust areas of the educational technology department is technology enhanced learning environments for pan domain cognitive abilities, frameworks for teacher use of educational technology tools and strategies, and using technologies such as GSR, EEG and eye tracking to understand teaching learning processes. So, this is a nice website. You can just go through what the researchers at IIT Bombay are doing in the field of educational technologies. So, to conclude this session, online education demands more independence. So, students must be capable of learning at least some of the material when the professors are not available. One of the features that makes online degree programs unique from campus based program is the students do not necessarily have to report to class during the scheduled sessions. Online degree programs attract working students and military personnel and so on, and also the working professionals. Professors must learn to engage a more diverse group of learners in this platform. So, thank you very much. We will see in the next session with some demonstrations of these tools that we have discussed during this session. Thank you.